We on the whips, we on the trap, we on the trucks, we on the pack, we on it all. We on our hits, we do the math, we get it in the laundromat just to clean the stacks.
Alrighty guys, let's go. Another episode here. Jay the Closer, episode number 2. We are talking about short-term rental arbitrage. Okay, so you may have heard this before, okay, but this is a tip and a trick that a lot of investors are using to get in the Airbnb short-term rental game without owning property. Okay, so on this channel, we're always talking about tips and tricks to get involved in big industries with low risk. Okay, so low amount of startup income. Okay, so what is it? All right, so renting or leasing long-term rental properties for a fixed price, then re-renting that same property on a short-term rental site for profit. Okay, so the term arbitrage is essentially getting something for one price and selling it for a higher price. Okay, so we lock up leases. We don't buy properties. We lock up leases with properties for a fixed price and then re-rent them on short-term rental sites like Vrbo and Airbnb and Rentals United for a profit. Okay, so what is this? Basically, you get a house, okay, a lease for, I like to keep it a sweet spot between 1,500 and 1,700, okay, depending on where you are in the world or the country, okay, so, and then you then lease it or upload it onto one of these platforms for a higher price on a short-term rental. So you're renting it as a one-term, one-year lease on a month-to-month basis, and you're re-renting it on a short-term platform, and you're getting daily, maybe a few days at a time, or maybe even a week at a time bookings, and you're making more money. Okay, so this is how you can get into the cash flowing real estate game without owning any property. Okay, so now you're thinking, how am I gonna get a property, or who's gonna give me a property to then turn it around and put it on BNB? How does that even work? Perfect question. Now, when you have a lease, there's two must-haves that you need to have in your agreement. Same as real estate and wholesaling, you have to have certain clauses that allow you to do what you're looking to do. So the first one is the assignment agreement, okay? Or the sublease clause, okay? So the assignment agreement and the sublease clause allows you to re-rent the same unit that you are renting currently, okay? If you don't have this, you have no rights to do that, okay? So some people may say they can trick the homeowner or the property manager. I like to be upfront, okay? I like to tell people exactly what we're doing, and I like to be on the same level with them so they understand and there's no hiccups or miscommunications. So I let them know exactly what I'm doing, and you're thinking, who is gonna do that? We're gonna talk about that on the next page. Okay, so commercial lease, okay? It's optional. However, I think that it is very crucial for two reasons. First reason is tax, okay? If you are now making money off of these platforms and you're getting direct deposits into your accounts, you're gonna be paying higher taxes, and you have to now submit those in and pay taxes. It's not like a job where they take the taxes out, okay? So the advantages from doing a corporate lease is you're gonna save taxes and you're also gonna save liability, okay? So when doing these Airbnbs, as you know, there's incidents on the news where parties and these things happen. When you have a commercial lease, you limit your liability because your name is not involved, okay? And you're saving taxes. Corporate taxes in Canada, where I am, is 15%, okay? Depending on your income, you could be paying up to 40%, right? So you're obviously gonna save a whole lot of money and liability when you go the corporate way and do a corporate lease, okay? So next page, let's talk about alrighty guys, so next page. Why would a homeowner or property manager let you sublease their property? Okay, that is a great question, and I thought about this the first time that I heard about this investment strategy. Okay, so first of all, it's guaranteed income. Okay, so some people would like to just buy a property, rent it out, or rent out another unit in their property and make some money. They're not thinking about it as a business. They'd rather just a tenant, and they rather guaranteed money, okay? Second, they're dealing with a professional, okay? So when I like to look for properties, I like to go to homeowners and I talk to them and I let them know that, listen, I'm a professional, okay? You're not dealing with an amateur, you're dealing with a professional. We own a company, we have assistants, we have cleaners, we have a whole system, okay? And we rely on this unit to make money. So you're gonna get your money guaranteed, because if we don't pay, we don't get any money, right? So in their mind, if you convince them that, hey, listen, I'm a professional, I do this all the time, you're guaranteed to get your money, they're gonna like that, okay? Third thing is you take all responsibility, okay? So you let them know, listen, we're gonna have Airbnb people coming in here, a few people from Verbal, some short-term rental clients coming into the unit, but we take full responsibility, okay? But you cover your ass when you get insurance. Okay, so insurance is really responsible, right? But they want to know that you're going to take responsibility and they're not going to be left hanging if something goes bad. Okay, so that is the risk of doing business, but that's why people get insurance. Okay, next question. How much money needed to start? Okay, so because this is more of a cash flow model and not a flip model, you may need to come up with a little bit more money. But once you put this initial investment, you're just going to keep making money for months on years, depending on whenever you want to stop, right? So initial investment, depending on where you are, can be cheaper if you're a little bit more creative. I like to say $3,000 to $4,500. Okay, so the goal is cash flow. All right, the goal is not to make a quick flip. It is making a lot of money over time and scaling up. Okay, so you're thinking, where does this money have to go? Now, first and last, obviously. Okay, so if you can get a commercial lease, you don't have to pay a security deposit, okay? So with commercial leases, depending on where you are, where I am in Ontario, you do not have to put down a security deposit if it is a commercial lease, okay? So that's the advantage. Number two, you're gonna have to buy furniture, okay? So you can save some money by getting things used. You still wanna get nice quality furniture. Facebook, Marketplace, Kijiji, Craigslist, you know what I mean? Drive around, go to your local used furniture store, see what they got, okay? Next thing, very important, and you need to buy a lot of it, okay? I'm dealing with this right now. We're actually in my Airbnb shooting, and I'm going through this right now because people steal things and you think you have enough, but you really don't. Linens and cleaning supplies, okay? So buy a lot of bed sheets, okay? Buy a lot of them. You'll be surprised, people will leave with the stuff that you give them in the Airbnb, okay? So buy a lot of them. Plus, you want to make sure you always have a lot just in case your cleaner doesn't have enough time to wash it while they're there cleaning, which a lot of times they don't if they're busy. So you want to have a lot of linens and a lot of cleaning supplies. Okay, so additional things or people needed to have this business running, okay? And these are optional. The first two are optional. Last one is essential. Real estate agent, okay? What is a real estate agent going to help you do? First of all, a real estate agent is going to help you find a good property. You can find it on your own. Okay, but some properties are listed by agents and they like to deal with agents. Okay, so you don't have to have a conversation with the homeowner. You have your real estate agent speak on your behalf, right? The next thing is a stager. All right, so a stager is another additional thing to kind of make it hands off, but it is still smart if you're looking to scale. Okay, because you don't have time to go set up every unit. My first unit, I sat down, bought all the furniture, cleaned up everything, put all the bed sheets. Then I paid one of my guys to do some pictures and we got it up. If you find a stager, and I'd say this is more when you're looking to scale, you just have somebody go in there and stage the place and have it looking pretty and ready to go, right? So the next thing, very essential. This is not optional. You need a cleaner, okay? You need a cleaner unless it is a property that is maybe you want your units, maybe you have a house, you want an Airbnb or Verbal or Rentals United, your basement, okay? That's an option if you have the time to clean before and after every single trip. But if you don't, and a lot of people don't, and if you want to make this cash flow more passive, you need a cleaner, okay? That is very essential, and you need a good cleaner that is detail oriented. A lot of people complain about minor things, so you want to have a good cleaner, okay? So the goal is to make your money back in 2 months, okay? So that's why I keep it at $1,500 to $1,750 for the unit, okay? And then I like to at least put maybe $1,000 to $1,500 depending on the unit in furniture. I like to get my stuff used. I'm very cheap. Okay, I'm in it for the cash. I want to make sure that I'm making enough and I'm not putting too much into these units. Okay, it's just like renting out regular units. Cash flow is key. You don't want to go and get fancy stuff for the house like it's a flip when it's really just a rental unit. People don't take care of your stuff. Okay, so I get cheap furniture used always, every single time, clean them up, make sure they're mint, but they're used. Okay, so the platforms to use. Okay, as you know, Airbnb, you must have heard of them already. Verbal is a new app that's up and coming here in Canada. Rentals United is pretty unique because they allow everything to go on autopilot. You put the pictures and upload every single thing on Rentals United. And what they do is they upload on every single platform and they manage it, the calendar, they manage their bookings on all different sites. They make sure that there's no double bookings, right? So they kind of do everything for you. Then the next one is TripAdvisor, and a lot of other Google sites. Nowadays, because these things are getting more and more common, you have people who have short-term rentals at other properties and are getting listed on hotel sites. So, right? So that's another thing that has more eyes. You want to be on every single platform, okay? Because you want to have maximum exposure for your unit, okay? You want more eyes on it. You want more people booking it. You want it to be fully booked 30 or 31 days out of the month, okay? You don't want people not to be there. You plan for some people not to be there. Just like a rental property, you have a vacancy rate, but you want more eyes. The more eyes, the more potential of more bookings, right? So that's why you want to be on all platforms. So let's go into the next page. Okay, so pros and cons of this model. Okay, so let's talk about the cons first. Okay, bad news first. Potential bans from sites. So you can be banned from some of these sites if the ratings get too low or a certain customer made a bad review for a certain reason. Okay, so also there could be slow periods. Okay, so that's the next thing. And there could be damages. Okay, so there is certain things that you have in place to kind of mitigate these things. So for slow periods, that's why you want them on different platforms. Okay, so maybe it could be slow on one platform, but then on a different platform, you're gonna still get bookings. Okay, damages, you want insurance. I have in-house security on all my units, so that's kind of what I do to mitigate damages or any parties. And I have some people who live in some of the units, if they're triplexes or multi-units, so they kind of look out for my properties. Now, pros, the good stuff. Low liability, okay? So if you use the model that I said, which is the corporate model, you're gonna have low liability, okay? Or almost no liability, depending on where you are, okay? Low investment, you don't need that much money. And after the first 1 or 2 months, depending on how much money you spend, you make your money. And the next 10 months of that year, lease is all cash, right? You're only picking up maybe some more cleaning supplies, some more linens if something were to happen, right? But those things are rewashable, reusable. Then steady cash flow. Every single month, you're gonna get checks into your personal or corporate account, depending on how you have it, with steady cash flow, okay? The cash from this business model can pay your bills, all right? Or go into some sort of investment fund for your family or your kids, right? It's easy to scale, okay? So because the business model is so simple, okay, and because there's certain things that I told you that you have in place that you don't have to necessarily be there, you can be in Tahiti, you can be in Jamaica while your Airbnb is making you money, or just looking at your account, getting deposits, right? The next thing is it can run on autopilot. Like I just said, it can run on autopilot if you have the right stager, an agent, a cleaner, or even just a good property manager that kind of just oversees everything and just pays the bill, and you reimburse them and you pay them a flat fee or just a percentage, right? So next one is low barrier to entry, right? Anybody can do this, okay? An old lady can do this. A teenager can do this, okay? So it doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, what your background is, you can literally get into the game with low money, low risk, low investment, and start making steady, good cash flow. Okay, so now this is a big question. Why wouldn't they do it themselves? Why wouldn't the property manager or the homeowner do it themselves? Okay, so first of all, some of them, they don't understand. They don't even understand what these things are. They don't understand what the sites are. They don't understand the whole model of it. They don't even understand, so they're not going to do it. Next thing, they don't have the time. A lot of people have full-time jobs and they have rental properties as side income, okay? They don't have time for cleaners every day, this, that, and the back and forth, right? Next, they're content with their rental income, okay? Some people, when they bought that property, they sat down with the mortgage broker and they got a certain amount of cash flow that went towards them qualifying, and they're fine with that cash flow every month, whether it's $500, $1,000, they're fine with that. As long as they pay their mortgage, they get that set income, they don't want no problems, they're cool with that, okay? So that's when you jump in. Obviously, you're taking a risk, but you're unlocking the potential to make a lot of money with such low risk, okay? So skills needed, okay? So obviously, it is a low risk, low barrier to entry business model, but you still need essential skills to actually succeed. And the number one thing is to lock down these properties, right? So it's the same as wholesaling. You gotta get the deal, okay? If you can't close, you're not gonna do anything. If you can't convince somebody to give you their property to then re-rent it on another platform, then you're not gonna have a business, okay? You're not even gonna have a side income with this model because it's not gonna work. They don't trust you, they don't feel comfortable with you, and they don't think that you're a reliable, trustworthy person that can get the job done and do what you say. So you have to be able to close. So the number one thing, you have to be able to close. You have to be able to close. Convince them. You have to seem trustworthy and be trustworthy. Anything you say, you have to back it up. You don't want them to, in the first 2 months in the agreement, you're late every first of the month, or some issues happen, there's damages, or people are calling the cops. You don't want those situations. You want to, if you say, listen, this is gonna happen, you actually do it and you fulfill the things that you said you were gonna do, right? So the next thing, you need to be professional. Okay, so obviously this is something that is new to a lot of people. Okay, a lot of homeowners and a lot of property managers don't know about this model. Okay, they don't understand how you can get something and re-rent something that you don't own. Okay, so they don't understand that. You have to be professional, present yourself professional, okay, and talk to them in a professional manner so that they understand that this person does this for a living. He's gonna handle him or her is gonna handle the business correctly, and I feel comfortable giving them this opportunity. Okay. Then the next is you have to build rapport. Okay, so this is essential with any business that you do. People do business with who they like. So if you are not able to build rapport, okay, you are gonna lose every single day. If you don't know what rapport is, it's basically like, it's not small talk, but it's the introductory conversations and things that make other people comfortable. You get to know their name, what they like, you get to know where they go and things like that. You make them comfortable telling you stuff and talking about regular conversations, right? Simultaneously as you're closing a deal. So I've built rapport just off of the conversations that I've had, and I've closed deals just off of the questions that I've asked people, right? So just off of inquiring about, oh, how was your day? And really asking, how was your day? How was the holiday? Or how are you dealing with COVID, right? So that's something that you want to talk about, right? You don't want to get too much into politics or religion. Those two things are two things you don't want to talk about because they're touchy and feely, right? You don't want to get involved in any political battles back and forth. Right now, we're going through an election right now, so I'm not going to go in someone's house and say, hey, are you conservative or liberal? If he says F Trudeau and I'm like, well, what do you mean Trudeau's the guy? That's going to be an issue, right? So you don't want to involve those two things with rapport. So thank you for staying to the end. I'm going to give you my bonus tip that allows me to propel in this business, okay? All right, bonus tip, main bonus tip and a side bonus tip. Okay, so the main thing that is going to allow you to scale, grow, and succeed in this business is making relationships. And that's with any business. Okay, you need to make relationships specifically, okay, with investors and property managers. Look at me, put relationships. Okay, so relationships with investors and property managers, okay? So those two people are gonna either have a lot of properties or know about a lot of properties. Property managers manage a lot of properties and they know investors or big buildings, and they work for big property management companies where they have access to a lot of units before they even hit the market. So you can get those units for a relatively reasonable price, and they're gonna keep giving it to you if you keep showing them that you're reliable and you're trustworthy and you are a man or woman of your word. The next is investors. A lot of people who have rental properties don't tend to stop and get one, right? They want 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you let them know, hey, listen, I'm reliable, trustworthy, this is what I do. I'm never gonna pay late. Any damages that occur, I take full responsibility for them, okay? And you let them know any new property you get that you wanna put on the market, it's easy. They'd rather deal with one person than 5 different people, especially if they're smaller investors and they don't have a property manager, right? They'd rather deal with you exclusively, and you're able to scale your business off of them getting more and more properties. Okay, the next thing, buy used furniture, please. Okay, if you have a good link on new furniture, or your family owns a furniture store, or your friend owns a furniture store, go there, get some nice furniture. Please try and get used furniture, because this is going to allow you to scale and get more money with spending less. Okay, so that's my whole name of the game. Low risk, high reward. Okay, so thank you for staying to the end. This is Jay the Closer. Like and subscribe if you want to. Not gonna beg. We're doing this every single week. Finances, real estate, low risk, high return investment strategies to have you making more money for your family, for yourself. We want you living your best life. All right, so thank you so much for staying to the end. We appreciate the love and support. Like and subscribe. Jay the Closer, let's get it going.
We on the whips, we on the trap. We on the trucks, we on the pack. We on our hits, we do the math. The laundromat just to clean the stacks.